We love a theme song.
A perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, a perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. In every situation, there's a blessing somewhere. Come gather, brothers and sisters, and we'll see that it is there. Ooh, I need you, you need me. Yes, you do. And that's how our happiness is guaranteed. Take it, boys.
And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. Through you is ushered in a world unseen, unheard, yet truly there. Holy are you, and in your light, the world reflects your holiness. For you are not alone and friendless. I give thanks for you, and join your efforts on behalf of God, knowing that they are on my behalf as well, and for all those who walk to God with us.
Sing it with me. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. A perfect outcome to all things, yeah, is assured.
Wee doggy!
There we go. It's how are all my wee doggies today? How are all the Torah in strict Torah tradition and in strict Quran tradition and many others? They read their holy book. You know, there's something everybody's reading at the same time of the year as you're going through the liturgy, no matter what. Of the big three, like even in Hinduism, in the Gita, you're supposed to be reading and doing these rituals according to the sun and the way things move through the sky. So we do that. Took that information, and I do that with the Course in Miracles. Did you know that you can read A Course in Miracles every year if you read 12.8 pages a week? I bet you didn't know that.
Megan's joined us too. Hi, Meg. So glad you're here.
So I take one of those sections of 12.8 pages and go into a little bit more depth into it, because I want to bring out the principles. I want to be able to use these principles, understand these principles, and be able to recognize them in the world I live in. Because I don't really want to be a very good Course in Miracles teacher. I like to be a really good teacher of obstacles to your awareness of peace.
Oh, so you can see the obstacles in front of you.
I want to learn the obstacles to peace. I don't want to memorize the Course in Miracles. Do you want to memorize the Course in Miracles? I don't want to memorize the Course in Miracles. I know people that have memorized the Bible, and memorizing the Quran and the Torah is a total thing. And I'm not saying don't do that, but it's like what I want is the meat. I want the meat. I want the meat so I can use it all the time. I want to find out what is true so I can use it all the time, because it's reliable. Right? Because my thinking isn't reliable. You know, and if I know my thinking isn't reliable, I'm way ahead of the game. Right? Because there's a long time when I did. Oh my God. How long did you think you were a reliable source of information? How long was it before you woke up to you were not a reliable source of information? You know? But that was a good day though, wasn't it? It was like, whew, I don't have to know anymore. That was a good day. Right? There you go. So we're working with what's today's lesson?
Well, this is today's.
Okay, this is today's
lesson.
I'm
no,
not sure.
let's just 1 second. Hold on. Oh, yes. Actually, today's lesson in the workbook, which we like to share with you, is lesson 267. My heart is beating in the peace of God. And I'm actually working on a song for this one. And it goes, because the words are so amazing and so gorgeous. So it goes like this. My heart is beating in the peace of God. Surrounding me is all the life that God created in his love. It calls to me in every heartbeat and in every breath, in every action and in every thought. Peace fills my heart and floods my body with the purpose of forgiveness. Now my mind is healed and all I need to save the world is given me. Each heartbeat brings me peace. Each breath infuses me with strength. I am a messenger of God, directed by his voice, sustained by him in love, and held forever quiet and at peace within his loving arms. Each heartbeat calls his name, and everyone is answered by his voice, assuring me I am at home in him.
And the prayer?
And the prayer is, let me attend your answer, not my own. Father, my heart is beating in the peace, the heart of love created. It is there and only there that I can be at home.
My heart is beating
in the peace of God. And I just love that because those words are so soothing. That's why I'm kind of working on a melody for it, which is going a little bit something like this. Ooh, my heart is beating in the peace of God. Ooh, my heart is beating in the peace of God. So that's my little moment that I'm working with, and I'm just like, oh, I'm really enjoying this today. So yay, thanks for letting me share. So shall we you're doing the laws of chaos today.
I'm doing I have
which is a big lesson.
I've like several really favorite lessons, as you know. Every week I go here, God, I really love this lesson. This is the laws of chaos. One of the reasons why I used to get asked to do this one. This is the ones I've done a lot, and I still working with it. It is still surprising me. In this chapter, it was in this chapter 23. This chapter is called, in the Course in Miracles, is called "The War Against Yourself." The war against yourself. This is where the Course, before we move into greater group building and community expression and togetherness, expression and recognition, she really wants to drill home the difference between the small self and the big self. Right? She wants you to really have a handle on how to recognize the small self pretending to be the big self. Okay, she's going to spend the entire chapter on helping us distinguish quickly between the small self and the big self, and recognize the small self's tricks and traps and the way that we overlook and don't think about what's important and don't listen. So I'm excited about sharing that, but we're going to do the piece of
we're going to do a sing-along first.
What's the sing-along today?
The sing-along is a Partridge Family song that you might know. There we go. Okay. Let's see if you know that. It's in the chat. I just put it in the chat.
You want to sing with us? Here.
We love this. Right? Ron is like, oh my God.
I know. You might not even have to look at the words.
Yeah.
I know. There you go, John. Tell those words.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello world, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. A whole lot of love in this one will be bringing.
And suddenly we're all on that bus and we're all happy. It's all, I don't know. I listen to a lot of that after school. So it sounds like, being home from school, 3 o'clock, to me in my synamic responses to that song.
I see the bus.
I see the bus. I know.
Oh, well, as you can tell, we're just really in a good mood today and so happy to be here. And so let's just, before we get into into Glen's message from the Laws of Chaos in the text, let's do just a little meditation and a song that I think goes well with what we're going to talk about, which is Forgiveness is the Key to Happiness, which is also a workbook lesson. So let's do this. We're going to ring the bell 3 times and release the breath on the 3rd with an Om. So here we go. What a wonderful, wonderful joy to be with you together in the sanctuary today, where we together right now at this moment are co-creating a circle of unconditional love, where everything that we like and everything that we do not like is included. We learn from it all, we grow from it all, and we love into it. We face our fears, and we know that forgiveness is the key to happiness. And so we step forward and let it unfold as it does in its own perfect way, in this perfect moment, in every perfect moment that we walk throughout our day and our weeks. Such a joy to know that we are safe and loved, and that we have a family on our journey with us. May we hear the things we need to hear tonight and say the things we need to say. Blessed be, and so it is.
Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Here is your answer to your search for peace. Here is the meaning in a world that makes no sense. Here is your way to safety when danger appears. Here are all your questions answered. Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat Sat, Hare Om Tat is the key to happiness. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. The way of peace is the way of love. Love is the greatest power on earth. It transforms all things. It transforms all things. The way of peace is the way of love. Love is the greatest power on earth. It transforms all things. It transforms all things. The way of peace is the way of love. Transforms all things. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Om Tat Sat. Forgiveness is the key to love.
Really nice.
And if you were curious about Hare Om Tat Sat, it means that is truth. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. That is truth.
I am that. I recognize truth because I am that truth.
I am
it's,
that
it's
truth.
kind of like the mantra
Yeah.
that goes on there. But it's just just looks up.
Close. Oh, there we go. Wow.
I love the image for the laws of chaos, and there are 5 of them.
Which is chapter 23 in the text.
Which is chapter 23 in the text. Is a 5-pointed star. Ever seen a 5-pointed star?
Sure.
If you understand what the Vesuvius man is, right? You know the Vesuvius man. Mm-hmm. It's a circle with the man like this, and the 5-pointed stars. Yeah, the 5-pointed stars. That's material existence. That's like the material world, the alchemy of the spirit turning into form, the reflection, that the matrix that happens in. Okay, that's the image I use to remember these things, and there are 5 of them, right? So, and this section is 12. It's 12 paragraphs. We're starting a little bit early because I wanted to get to them, because this is. I like A Course in Miracles for a lot of reasons. And probably the reason that the easiest reason for me to keep coming back to it is because of the literature that's involved in it. I really like how she writes. I think in places it is very, very funny. I think in places it's really snappy. It's almost sarcastic, and I think in other places she is intentionally obtuse in like talking down to you, because that's where, that's how it lands for me. That's why I read it every year, right? So we're gonna read, and I don't almost never do this. We're gonna read every word of this chapter because it is so the writing in this is so arch and actually very stereotypically very good Course in Miracles. You know, if you want it, flavor of course, it's like very good. This is the good part of the best of Course in Miracles is the law of chaos. I think, as far as the writing goes, even the writing I like on this. So
as usual, we go back and forth between screens in order to read. And
yeah,
then
so bust in if you need
talk.
something.
So yeah, if you want to ask a question or you have anything to say, please just unmute and go
5
for
laws
it.
of chaos. See if you can remember them. See how
See
they
if I
work
can
in your
remember.
life. See if you can recognize them.
All right, so
This is section 3.
chapter 23, section 3, the laws of chaos. Okay. Paragraph 1. The laws, quote unquote, of chaos can be brought to light though never understood. Chaotic laws are hardly meaningful and therefore out of reason's sphere. Yet they appear to be an obstacle to reason and to truth. Let us then look upon them calmly. I like that she says that we may look beyond them, understanding what they are, not what they would maintain.
Keep going.
That makes sense. It is essential it be understood what they are for, because it is their purpose to make meaningless and to attack the truth. Here are the laws that rule the world you made, and yet they govern nothing and need not be broken, merely looked upon and gone beyond.
Okay. Before she even gives you the goals, before she even lets you shares the first lesson with you, she goes, okay, before we go anywhere, let's lay down some rules here. Let's make sure what the goals are. Do you agree with the goals here? Before we're even going to get to rule number 1, she goes, this is what this whole thing is about. The goals are to help you look beyond, to see through to the roots of chaos. Does it sound like a good idea? Who wants to see through to the roots of my own chaos that I create in my own life? I mean, just be able to see the obstacles very, very clearly. The goal is to see clearly. Why? Because you'll make a different decision. Because you make stupid decisions when you don't know better, right? She wants you to see clearly. Let's see clearly, okay? Let's see clearly.
Decisions I
Look
have made.
beyond, see through to the roots of chaos, and understand what they would maintain. Understand what they would keep in place. Don't take that lightly. These things are in place because they're maintained. They're not maintained just by you. They're maintained by everybody. Wrong systems, injustice, all the phobias and isms and all that stuff is maintained by us and everybody else.
And fears. That's why
All the fears. Right. I can
that's
see
why
clearly now the rain has
it's
gone.
gone.
I never get a.
But I really want to mention right here at this moment, which is why I so appreciated Shauna's inquiry today,
Yes.
because you went directly
To this.
into looking at your fear. It was so amazing.
Right. So, what do they maintain?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question when you're talking about a fear, what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the laws of the world. It's a law, it's a law. What does it maintain? And then you say, what are they for? They are for to attack, they are for to keep you searching in meaninglessness and not find the truth. They're just to remain meaningless. Who has said, there's even philosophies that says the world is meaningless. Just because I don't make meaning doesn't mean there's no meaning. It means I don't make it. It means it is there. I just don't make it. People are really mad that they don't get to make meaning. You know, really, really, really mad that they aren't making up the meaning of everything. That what they think everything means isn't what everything means. Do you ever get mad that things don't mean what you think they mean? I've gotten mad at myself for, oh man. So she goes, look at that. Look at that. You can unplug from a lot of stuff really quickly if you get that. If you get just the goals of what you want to do. You'll find these laws if you will just examine and be honest about the goals you have in your life. Let's examine the laws. All right. Paragraph 2. I know. This is all of
Here we go. Paragraph 2. The first chaotic law. The first chaotic law is that the truth is different for everyone.
Keep going.
This one maintains that each is separate and has a different set of thoughts that set him off from others. This principle evolves from the belief there is a hierarchy of illusions. Some are more valuable and therefore true. Each one establishes this for himself and makes it true by his attack on what another values. And this is justified because the values differ, and those who hold them seem to be unlike and therefore enemies. Think how this seems to interfere with the first principle of miracles. For this establishes degrees of truth among illusions, making it seem that some of them are harder to overcome than others. If it were realized that they are all the same and equally true, it would be easy then to understand that miracles apply to all of them. Errors of any kind can be corrected because they are untrue. When brought to truth instead of to each other, they merely disappear. No part of nothing can be more resistant to the truth than can another. No part of nothing can be resistant.
What's the first law of chaos? I like to call it, it's good to be the king. You know, remember that scene from History of the World Part 2, where Mel Brooks has his face in the decolletage of Gina Richards.
Gina Rollins, I think. I think it was Gina Rollins.
Yeah. And it looks right at the camera, breaking the fourth walls, and says, "It's good to be the king," right? Because there's something. Rules are different for everybody. Rules are based on, like, I don't know, what hat you wear on your head or whatever. You know, you just have to learn the rules about what this Oh man, have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to figure out what the hierarchy was and tried to climb some hierarchy to be safe or feel like you could get? Oh my gosh,
yeah.
It's prevalent. Mm-hmm. And she's saying, these are the rules you made in the world that keep you away from the truth. This is what you do instead of pursuing what you're here to do. You maintain these laws and do this stuff. It's good to be you fight in these. We fight in these things, right? fight for these things. So the first law of chaos. First law of chaos is the truth is different for everyone. That they all have separate thoughts. That hierarchies are good, and there are separate illusions. That some things are inherently better than others. Truth and my favorite. That truth can be won. Did you hear that? Truth can be won. That's I get to make the rules if I win. Who doesn't recognize that rule of that? I win. I made the rules. The reason to win is that you get to make the rules. Mm-hmm. That's the reason to win. My God.
I would think that would put you in column B.
Okay. She gives a couple of reminders here. Errors can be corrected because they're untrue. Like, don't even give them like all the scary woo-woo that we're even giving them. Truth is always true, and it always has the conditions of understanding. Truth is true. You follow the truth. Understanding follows the truth. Follows, doesn't precede. Understanding follows the truth. So the question is, how do power imbalances really affect our relationships? That's kind of the first law. You want to get behind the first law. She wants you to examine the power relationships in your own relationships. Be careful that when you're making relationships, about the power dynamic that you're creating, unspoken power dynamic that you're creating in your relationships, that you're not creating hierarchies of better human beings.
Which is so refreshing that we don't do that here in the sanctuary. It's so awesome. Which is why the program after us, Enlightened Leadership, is so inspiring. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Mm-hmm.
I'd call it a dovetail to this one.
Yeah, it's so inspiring. Yeah, it's so
This is just a preamble to the Tao. So, 4.
Okay, so the second law of chaos, dear indeed to every worshiper of sin, is that each one must sin and therefore deserves attack and death. Wow. This principle, closely related to the first, is the demand that errors call for punishment and not correction. For the destruction of the one who makes the error places him beyond correction and beyond forgiveness. What he has done is thus interpreted as an irrevocable sentence upon himself, which God himself is powerless to overcome. Sin cannot be remitted, being the belief the Son of God can make mistakes for which his own destruction becomes inevitable. Think what this seems... Oh, wait. I think we have a question. Hold on. Did somebody have a question?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. Think what this seems to do to the relationship between the Father and the Son.
Okay.
Now it appears that they can never be one again, for one must always be condemned and by the other. Now are they different and enemies, and their relationship is one of opposition, just as the separate aspects of the Son meet only to conflict, but not to join. One becomes weak, the other strong by his defeat. And fear of God and of each other now appears as sensible. The arrogance on which the laws of chaos stand could not be more apparent than emerges here. I'm skipping a little bit because for time's sake, so it's okay.
The second law of chaos is we learn by punishment, right? We learn by punishment. B.F. Skinner won't tell you this. You can go on any number of YouTube videos and HBO and dog trainers with popular shows will tell you not to do this. To teach by punishment. Shauna, do you teach by punishment? Do horses and do animals this way? Do we teach by punishment? No. But we sort of do. Go ahead, Charles. Okay.
Thank you. I wasn't aware that I was able to ask questions.
Sure.
Sin then being punished instead of corrected.
Yep.
Because sin is not seen as a misunderstanding, but evil.
Oh yeah.
As bad.
Oh, you must be punished. You
because you're evil. Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, this person's evil and they need to be punished.
Oh yeah. The Nisr the Gadada reading today was really good on that. There's no evil.
Okay.
There's nobody having there's somebody having a really bad time. It's me. It's all me. So the second law of chaos is we learn by punishment, because we're in this paradigm of each one must sin and therefore deserves attack and death. You deserve it. You earned it. Play by the rules. Mess around, find out. Or error must be just with the idea that error must be destroyed.
That's the idea of war, right? Armies fighting.
Right.
Oh, yes, and it'll even get worse than that. She goes, the arrogance on which the laws of chaos stand could not be more apparent than this. Here's the principle that would define what the Creator really must be, for he must think that what he must believe and how. He must respond believing it. It is not even necessary that he be asked about the truth of what he's been established for his belief. His Son can tell him this, and he has but no choice but whether to take his word or be mistaken. This leads directly to the third preposterous belief that seems to make chaos eternal. See, that's the making sure that we have some busyness to do. She's calling chaos instead of be authentically here. If God cannot be mistaken, his Son must accept the belief that what he is and hate him for it. We must be awful people. God has to hate you for it because of who you are. I mean, look at you. That's the nice thing. We totally recognize that. He goes, you deserve it. You deserve all of this happen to you. That's an economic system. But like people say, that goes, it's just the poor choices. Really, So learn to recognize the laws of chaos. Learn to recognize when we're building these systems and playing into things that they maintain. Right? These are the things they're maintained in our own minds.
Right.
And we're participating in our own suffering.
And so that's how we undo it.
That's why we undo it by seeing and seeing beyond. And and she goes, this is a belief system. We'll never be good enough for God. We recognize this. We can't even imagine the relationship of being one with God. We live in conflict with ourselves and with others. I mean, get real. The world is, this way. You know, you learn by punishment. You know, rub your cat's nose in it, right? The question is, have we really ever destroyed our relationship with God? Because that's what makes it so thick, is that what we're battling against is this belief that we've messed up our relationship with God. That's the whole thing it's sitting on. The belief that you messed up. You're not doing human right. You're not good enough to like pray to God. You know, she's going to turn her back. She has no choice but to turn on back with you. Look what you did. It's ridiculous on its face. It's comically ridiculous on its face. This all-powerful God can't look upon you. You just can't. You're so it's ridiculous on its face. You know? But we keep doing it. We can laugh, but we keep doing it.
I know, but let's not do it. We can, now that we recognize, you know.
And help your friends. Help your friends do it. You know, God saw you do that. You know. Oh, I know. God will get you for that. You know. You know. Who does it serve to have a jailer in your head? Ask. Maybe that's a better question. Who are you maintaining by having a jailer in your head? Go. Keep going.
Okay. However, we're not going to be able to read every single word.
All right.
Okay. So.
Just read the part I've highlighted. Okay.
Okay. Conflict, and now is conflict made inevitable. Atonement thus becomes a myth, and the function of this course, you'll have to explain.
And that is the function of this course, which does not value what the ego cherishes. Atonement is a myth, but the function is trying to. So the third law of chaos is conflict is beyond the help of God. You saw that. You learn by punishment. Conflict is beyond, you know, the help of God. Appeal is useless. You've done nothing to deserve it. You have to atone for it. I mean, in some systems, somebody's got to be hurt and tortured and died for you to talk to God again. So that's how deep this goes. It's a belief system. This third law of chaos is that we're beyond the help of God. You can be beyond the help of God. She categorizes this as an addiction to conflict, which also sounds familiar. And she goes, this creates an internal confirmation bias. We send out messengers into the world that just repeat this, we just build up and reinforce this world. That's what we do. I mean, we see it. We recognize this. So the question is, who deserves, the way I get at finding out how this law operates in my world. I say, who deserves vengeance? Is it me? Or is it my job to dish it out? Right? Who deserves punishment? For what? And what's the punishment? If I'm involved in all of determining that, I've left the moment. Right?
Yeah.
I'm managing something else besides what I'm here to do. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
We go there. We do. We go there for ourselves. We volunteer to be tortured. Right?
How do you mean?
We feel guilty.
Oh, feel guilty.
Don't take care of ourselves. Do poor self-maintenance because we don't like ourselves. We don't like what's going on. So we do poor self-care. We don't. All kinds of stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Those are the laws of chaos. Those are our proof of our belief in the laws of chaos because we're taking action on them in the world. Right? We're taking action on them in the world.
So moving on. You want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The ego values only what it takes, for enemies do not give willingly to one another, nor would they seek to share the things they value. And what your enemies would keep from you must be worth having, because they keep it hidden from your sight. Were they not forced into this foul attack by the unscrupulous behavior of the enemy, they would respond with only kindness. But in a savage world, the kind cannot survive, so they must take or else be taken from. And now there is a vague, unanswered question not yet explained. What is this precious thing, this priceless pearl, this hidden secret treasure, to be wrested in righteous wrath from this most treacherous and cunning enemy?
You see what
Get it, Helen? Now must his body be destroyed and sacrificed, that you may have that which belongs to you. His treachery demands his death. She is really dramatic here.
Do you know you're reading A Course in Miracles? If you were like, would you believe anybody? You were reading A Course in Miracles. See what Jesus, what the channel Jesus is doing is reading Helen's mind, which is also our mind, right? We recognize it. We're laughing because we recognize this whole thing and this whole setup in our own head. We recognize this our own thinking. The fourth law is chaos. Is competition is real. You got to fight for it. This is a bootstrap world, girl. Because what it say? Another way of saying this is the ego values only what it takes.
Ooh.
I mean, what movie is this? You know, what movie are we watching? You know, something.
Oh, goodness.
Another's loss is your gain. Nobody gives willingly. Other people have what is mine, what I deserve. Oh, I didn't get. The world took my... God, fill in the blank. The world took my... You have to fight to get it back, to prove that it was mine. And it's a savage world. That's practically you could probably find that. So it's a savage world. It's a savage world. Oh, Lord. The reminder is all this is because we think we're a body. And I think you're a body too. So I know what to do with you. You know, you're hiding something from me. You hid it inside of yourself. I must, destroy you in order to get it back. To have it back, you must be destroyed. You took my dignity. You took my, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever.
You must be
You must be destroyed. It's material objects. It's practically a fetish. The question is it true that I have fought for everything that I have? Is it true that you fought for everything that you have? And that's the world that you live in? Is that really true?
Absolutely, it is not. However, I've spent many years believing that
Operating that way.
Operating that way.
I know. Nobody has ever given me a birthday present. I have fought and struggled for every single present I have ever got. I've earned every single kind word that is ever said to me. How?
Oh my gosh.
Laws of chaos. We think we operate like this is true.
Right.
Have you really fought for everything that you have? Okay, this is the last paragraph.
Okay. But what is it you want that needs his death? I'm scared. Can you be sure your murderous attack is justified unless you know what it is for? And here a final principle of chaos comes to the rescue. It holds there is a substitute for love. This is the magic that will cure all of your pain, the missing factor in your madness that makes it sane. This is the reason why you must attack. Here is what makes your vengeance justified. Behold, unveiled, the ego's secret gift, torn from your brother's body, hidden there in malice and in hatred for the one to whom the gift belongs. He would deprive you of the secret ingredient that would give meaning to your life. The substitute for love, born of your enmity to your brother, must be salvation. It has no substitute, and there is only one. And all your relationships have but the purpose of seizing it and making it your own. Oh my God.
Is this a movie? I want to see that movie. Is this like a movie trailer? Is this the voiceover? What movie is playing in the background when this is the trailer, like the voiceover for the trailer? The fifth law is chaos. Is there's a substitute for love. Substitute for love. Love's the only thing that's really going to satisfy. It isn't being on the top. It isn't winning the game of things. It isn't winning the game. People being afraid of me or any of that stuff. That's not it. There's no substitute for love. So why don't we just go for love?
Yeah.
And she says this pursuing all this all the worldly stuff and thinking your body and all this messing around, that's what the Course in Miracles calls magic.
Oh.
Because you're playing around in the world. Just playing around in the physics of the world. Playing around and playing whack-a-mole instead of dealing with causes, right? The beginning of the paragraphs was, what's your goal? You want to look at causes, right? You want to look at causes. And that's why we think there's a substitute for love. Because we think there's something other than that to do. It's incredible. We think that the interesting things to do is to pursue that hierarchy, right? The most interesting to do is to be the best is to be in competition, you know? We think the best thing, instead of being in relationship in this deep, deep presence living moment in which we actually do exist, you know, unseen, unheard, yet truly there. These things aren't truly there. You know why? They're so manipulatable. They're so manipulatable. I'm growing old before your eyes. This isn't real, right? What do we want to deal with? What is going to satisfy us? Chaos is not going to satisfy you. It can look really pretty. You know, we even have a phrase for it. It's called a hot mess. You know?
Oh my goodness.
And we have all been a hot mess at one time or another. You know?
Yep.
And some people, and some of us only date hot messes, right?
Oh, is that how we got together?
You find a pattern, right? You find your pattern before you can see your pattern. Before you can see your pattern, you choose the wrong person you put the wrong person over and over and over again, right? In a different body, right? Until you learn what you're doing. I couldn't see Yolanda until I could see her. You know, I couldn't see her until I could see her.
Right.
That's what we want to do. We want to be real. We want to deal with what is real. It's the satisfying business of being in love with you and us and here and now and this. The radical business of being in love. Because there's no substitute for it. It's not out there. It's not to be had in the material world. Love isn't located in others that must be extracted. Because they're not giving it to me. And then I've been justified in my anger and violence and judgment because they're not giving it to me and it's not fair. Oh, that's domestic violence.
It's also conflict at work
It's
with
conflict
people
at
that
work,
you don't
right,
like and whatever
conflict
like
at work,
that and
you
stuff
know.
like that. Yeah.
Salvation is true. Which is why we get mad when we feel like somebody is we feel like separated. The bottom line is we do know we're one. We do.
Yeah.
And that's why it hurts your feelings. Because you know it's wrong. That's why it hurts your feelings when you do something out of character, out of your integrity. Because you have integrity. That's why it hurt, because you stepped out of it. And that's okay. We're here in this moment to prove that there is no substitute for us. There's nowhere else I want to be. Nowhere else I want to be than here and now with you as this. Because there's no substitute for this. There's no substitute for our love.
That's true.
All
Really
relationships have the purpose of seizing this understanding. She says this, all relationships has this purpose. Now we're going to use these relationships to seize the chaos. Or we're going to use these relationships to find out that we're all one. And we're already safe. And then I don't have to compete and get to the top and take something from you. and live in that world where that's the way it is. She asks you not to be afraid of the darkness, but to bring the light. You're the light. And we do know we're not afraid of the dark. We're afraid of our light. She says you need to be afraid of the dark, what you do not see, because you actually bring the light. You bring the light. If you're willing to look at their own laws of chaos and what they support in our lives. We're not afraid of the dark. This is a lifestyle. It's a way of organizing our minds. And like at the very beginning of Course in Miracles, he goes, this is a course in mind training.
Yeah.
Right? This is a course in mind training. We watched Dune last night. It makes me think we're all getting turned into mentats or something. The truth is true. Salvation is true. We can do this. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's a way of orienting ourselves. And so, well, it's the night of songs, is it? So it made me think of that of that song, "Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places."
Oh, right.
Right. Using relationships to get rather than to awaken. Right. Using relationships to act out battles of hierarchy. Using relationships to battle out games of competition. Do you see how she uses, like, we're in relationships. You want to be in relationships. You want to be in love, in this now presence of love. And what do we do with it? We turn this relationship into competition, hierarchy, and all this. Go for it, Patricia.
Patricia.
Speaking about relationships, today I read something that I think is very helpful. This is from Ken Wapnick, and he says, your only holy relationship is with Jesus or the Holy Spirit. That's your only holy relationship. And when you choose him as your teacher, all of your relationships are blessed with that same holiness. So the first relationship should be with the Holy Spirit, with Spirit. So there will be no hierarchy, no preferences, no nothing. It's like leveled, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I thought this was very, very useful.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
So how we do relationship and what are your relationships for? Right? Why do we do what we do? Why are we in relationships? What does this sense of togetherness mean for us? And to be on to our own falling back into ideas about competition, and ideas about hierarchy, because they're not true, and they can be broken, but we can see through them, so we can act differently. The results are the experience in a body, in the here and now, of being one. And I think that's worth doing. I'm Reverend Glen Ganaway. I am your favorite, I hope, anarchist preacher. This is the love of my life, the Reverend Yolanda, and we are the Mighty Companions. Remember to listen to the voice that likes you. She'll tell you that we are one, and she will tell you how to act like it.
Yeah.